All right. Shalom to everybody in the chat. We'll just give it a few minutes for people to come in. Well, we got clear skies here today. Maybe I'll be able to get a glimpse of the supermoon tonight. We only have up until Friday to see it. All right. Shalom, shalom. Okay. Shalom to everybody. All right, y'all. Let me see. Let me go ahead and share my screen. You can't hear me? Can everybody hear me, or you can't hear me? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm sharing my screen. Let me go ahead and get started, y'all. All right, hold on. There we go. All right. Now, we get caught up with COVID-19, and that is the big thing in the news, but people that have been dying from drug addiction, y'all, they are still dying. It has gone nowhere. All right. So the people that were dying of opioids are still dying. and they are dying by the thousands in this country. So let me see here. Let me go ahead and get started. All right. So this is the Daily Beast, May 4th, 2020. Authorities nationwide are reporting an uptick in fatal opioid overdoses during social distancing. So it just goes to show you that despite the fact that we're on lockdown, these addicts are still managing to get drugs and overdose on those drugs. All right. All right, so social distancing, authorities nationwide are reporting a surge in fatal opioid overdoses. Addiction and recovery advocates say the U.S. is now battling two epidemics at once. From 1999 to 2018, opioid overdoses involving prescription and illicit drugs have killed nearly 450,000 Americans. One recent study found an additional 99,160 opioid deaths previously unrecorded because of incomplete medical records. In Franklin County, Ohio, where, they have a big problem there, the coroner is warning residents of a continued spike in drug deaths, including 6 on April 24th. 1 week before the coroner announced that 5 people died in a span of 12 hours. In February, overdoses were so prevalent, the coroner said she might need a temporary morgue to handle the deluge. Folks, for the 4th Friday in a row, we have seen a surge of overdose deaths. Yesterday, 6. Dr. Ortiz posted on Facebook on April 25th. Please keep that Narcan on hand. Oh, that's another thing I meant to tell y'all. Because of COVID-19, they have not been ordering Narcan. There's a Narcan shortage in the country. And they are now fearing a lot of drug overdoses. They're not going to be able to save these people because there's no Narcan. That almost blew me away. Please keep the Narcan on hand, use fentanyl test strips, and call 911 for an overdose. Families and friends, check on your loved ones who use frequently. Consider Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to check in and talk. Montgomery County, Ohio, which is home to Dayton, was considered the country's overdose capital in 2017, is reporting a 50% jump in overdoses over the last year. Coroner Ken Hashbara suggests one local news outlet, this increase could be closer to 100%. He's saying there is a 100% increase in his county of overdose deaths. Whoa. That is like insane. March had around 42, which our normal base is somewhere around in the 20s. So 42, he's talking about 42 deaths is a significant increase. Indeed, authorities in counties across Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and New York are also reporting rises in overdoses during COVID-19. Helen Jones Kelly, the executive director of Montgomery County Alcohol, Drug, and Addiction and Mental Health Services, said her agency is redoubling efforts to get in front of the spate of overdoses. That includes delivering naloxone kits to households with a history of drug abuse and reviewing ledgers to see whose kits are expired. She said the task force is pinning personal notes for those who might be struggling and informing people about telehealth treatment options for addiction. We think we can get a handle on this before it gets to a point where there's no turning back, Jones Kelly told the Daily Beast. The county anticipated some spikes in overdoses because, this is what they had normally every single year, especially around this time when it starts getting warm. In August, a gunman killed 9 people outside of a Dayton bar, and tornadoes walloped Dayton and surrounding areas in May. As those anniversary dates come around, you expect people to self-medicate to some extent, she said. This pandemic has escalated that behavior. It's the anxiety. You have people beat down to the point where their coping strategies are at the lowest ebb. So, ladies and gentlemen, as this pandemic is going on, it is completely burying what's going on when it comes down to opioids. I mean, this drug addiction hasn't gone anywhere, not even in lockdown. It hasn't gone anywhere. These junkies are still finding ways to get out there and buy these drugs. So it's not slowing down at all. So now you got thousands dying from COVID-19, and simultaneously you have people dying from these opioids by the thousands, and you're not even hearing about it. So I know this is things they don't want out there. They wish this stuff would go away, but it's not. It's not. And I'm not surprised that it's jumping up, because when the jobs had first started shutting down in March, they had shut down many of the rehab centers around the country because there was no real way to social distance in those places. So what they were trying to do is figure out a way to treat these junkies from home, which, that ain't going to be possible, because when you have a drug addiction, it's one of those things you have to be monitored at all times, especially if you're in some kind of treatment. So if those rehab centers are shut down, then it's nobody really monitoring what these junkies are doing. So COVID-19 has completely overshadowed the opioid plague, but the opioid plague has not stopped at all. It has not slowed up. So I was like, wow, these junkies and dealers must be finding some kind of way to hook up with each other to keep this thing going. So these junkies, they apparently are able to still get a hold of money and buy their drugs, and they haven't missed a beat all this time. I mean, that is crazy when you really think about it. Yeah. Yeah, they are. When you really think about everything that's going on here, and, the suicides have not slowed up either. In fact, they'll probably ramp up with all of the COVID-19 going on in the country. The suicides will probably more than likely ramp up as well. Our governor just extended for an additional month, but you got other governors in the country, they can't wait to reopen. They don't care if this thing has not slowed down. They don't care. They want to just generate revenue and keep the country going, but I'm telling you, they're not going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to do it. No, they really can't. Daughter of the Most High, they can't handle what's going on. They absolutely can't. Well, opioid addicts are still apparently getting high and overdosing and dying too. But yeah, in fact, it was this morning when I was looking at different, because I always wake up looking at different articles and stuff. And one of the articles I came across was a shortage of Narcan in the country now because of COVID-19. They're not ordering Narcan like they used to because everything is now heavily focused on trying to beat COVID-19. Well, Trump, whether he likes it or not, he owns coronavirus on his watch. He owns it. I saw the other day he was still trying to blame Obama. I mean, look, you're already done with your first term and you're worried about, you're still trying to blame Obama for something he wasn't even around for. Well, people like Trump with high IQs, they never take responsibility for anything. So what do you expect? Yeah, my mother's oldest sister passed away. She did not die of COVID-19. She had Alzheimer's and just old age. She was 86 years old. And I was talking to my cousin this morning because, they all lived in Atlanta. And he told me, he said there were patients all around my aunt with COVID-19, but it was amazing. She didn't get it. She did not get it, but she ended up dying in her sleep yesterday. And we can't even go to her funeral. It's a terrible time for somebody to die, but he's having her cremated. In fact, they're scheduled to cremate her body next week, and he's just going to take the urn and bring her home to his house and just leave it there. He said he's just going to keep her in his house until, hopefully things will die down enough where he can have a memorial service. Thank you. Have a memorial service and then, get her buried. But it's really tough for families right now because they don't want no more 10 gathering for a funeral. And like I was telling y'all before, here in New Jersey, thank you, everybody. Here in New Jersey, you can't even get out of your car at the cemetery. At the cemetery, you can only sit in your car and watch. You can't stand around the grave like you used to back in the day. So, it's difficult. I mean, even if he had the funeral, all of us would not be allowed to even go. We're not immediate. I mean, I'm a niece. I'm not immediate family. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. And the thing is, she was a nurse. She was a head nurse when she was younger. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. I mean, these things are going to happen whether there's a pandemic or not, unfortunately. So I'll probably reach out and try to get maybe a card and some money and send it down to my cousin. But y'all, never forget that, we're being overshadowed by COVID-19, but never forget the drug addictions that are going on in the country is still happening. And all that fentanyl is still flowing into the country. I mean, so they are still on the dark web buying all those drugs. Nothing has changed at all behind the scenes. Thank you. Thank you. My aunt lived a good life. She just got up in age, and the Alzheimer's, she has been living with that for probably a good 12 years. She was living with Alzheimer's. So, you know, believe me, with everything going on in this world, I really believe she was better off. My mom had 10 siblings. Out of 10, now only 5 are left. That's it. And they're all women. The 2 men, she had 2 brothers, and both of them are already deceased. So I have nothing but aunts left on my mom's side. All women. All right, y'all, I'm not going to keep you long. I do have a premiere coming up. I hope all of you can be over there. It's Ahmaud Arbery. The 911 recording was released. So if you come over there, you'll be able to hear, what the call was like when they called it in. And it was just so stupid. You'll hear, when you go over there, you'll hear the call. And the whole thing was just so stupid. I mean, at one point, even the operator asked, well, what did he do wrong? And he didn't even answer, So they knew this guy wasn't doing anything wrong. It is just so obvious. It is so obvious. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all at 4 over on my premiere. Hopefully you will, most of you, if you're able to be there, will be there. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray for each and every one of you every day. And I hope you're all safe and the Most High keeps his strongest hedge of protection around my brothers and sisters in all 4 corners of the earth. Amen. Peace, family.